So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Fernanda Correa. I'm business development here at Spring 2 Innovation, and I'll be helping out with the webinar today. We hope you get a lot of value out of this session and enjoy the content, whether you're watching this live or on demand. We'll have this available as well. So while we're still logging in, I'll share a warm-up question here in the chat and cover some general housekeeping items. So our warm-up question is, what is project success to you? We would love to hear your answers. There's no right or wrong here. Feel free to chat, to share whatever you want in the chat. For the housekeeping items, everyone has been muted to minimize background noise. You may turn on your video if comfortable, but not mandatory. There will be a few questions throughout the webinar, and we'll be monitoring the chat box throughout, so please feel free to engage with us there anytime. For questions during the presentation, we do ask that you use the Q&A feature. Questions will be addressed at the end. If you have any technical difficulties, such as issues with audio or connectivity, you can either message me directly here or Osa, that will also be helping out. This session will be recorded for those who cannot attend live, and in the next few days, you will receive an email with a link for our on-demand version. We'll have a survey after the webinar for feedback, and we appreciate very much your contribution. If you're new to design thinking, you definitely came to the right place. If you're not familiar with Spring 2 Innovation, and this is your first time joining us, welcome. We are a design thinking firm focused on removing barriers for our clients and students to help them understand their end clients better and to generally become more innovative. We help our clients do this through coaching, consulting, and training. And if you're interested in learning more, please visit our website or shoot us an email or message us on social media. We'll also share all of our contact information here in the chat box. And we actually have a course coming up in April. It's design thinking for the public sector level 1. We still have some spots available. It will be April 17 and 18. We'll also share all the information here in the chat box. For more design thinking and leadership, you can also check our past webinars, YouTube channel, blog, lots of great content there. And we'll have all the content information in the chat box. So, okay, let's get started. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about the future of project delivery, achieving project success with the deeper clarity method. We'll discover how to transcend traditional project management with the deeper clarity method. With this unique approach, unavailable elsewhere, will provide you with deep insights into avoiding common pitfalls like the good assumption trap, where reliance on intuition and past experience can derail projects. And to talk about the deeper clarity method today, we'll have Nilüfer Erdebil, founder and CEO of Spring 2 Innovation. She's a TEDx Ottawa speaker, author of the international best-selling book, Future Proofing by Design, and has dedicated her career to assisting organizations in achieving remarkable advancements through design thinking principles. So with that, I'll pass it to you, Nilüfer.
Thanks, Fernanda, and thanks everyone for joining us in today's webinar. I'm really happy to be talking about deeper clarity with you. It's a method that we've been working on for quite some time now. And for those that might not know me, my name is Nilüfer, but feel free to call me Nil. And if you want to reach out on social media, I'm on almost all the platforms, or you can also reach us through Spring 2 Innovation. So today's goal is to talk a little bit about the tools and the mindset to have continuous thriving businesses and projects, and through seeing things from different perspectives and looking at new different opportunities. So we're going to do that through focusing on what truly matters through that human-centered perspective using the deeper clarity method. And Fernanda started us out early with our icebreaker question. What is your definition of project success? And we had a couple of different things in here. We had meeting objectives on time and on budget. I think we had one as well on time and on budget and in scope. And there's another one here with lessons learned and processes improved. Yeah, those are all really great. As I've chatted with folks throughout the last year to understand what project success meant for them on time and on budget, delivers intended impact for users, team unity, team building, learning, and new experiences for future revenues. And so those are all right in line. And I like the meeting objectives as well as in scope too. Those are all part of project success. And depending on the type of organization that you have and the type of culture that you have, the order of these and what is on here is going to shift a little bit. So today we're going to talk a lot about deeper clarity, but a lot of you might know me as the design thinking person. I've done a lot of talks and we've certainly done a lot of training around design thinking. And we find that highly successful organizations are constantly on the cutting edge of innovation, consider the needs of end users intuitively and intrinsically. And so it's part of their processes, it's part of their mindset and their culture. And with design thinking, you guys might be familiar with some of the steps of design thinking. Usually you start out with empathizing, so understanding the customers at a deeper level before you define what the problem is that you want to solve, and then come up with ideas, prototype, and then test them. And so all the stuff in the orange box here is a lot about design thinking. With deeper clarity, we've added in several different things to make sure that it works in large organizations, especially in ones that are already using project management so that they can actually get to end results and outcomes better. So what is deeper clarity? Deeper clarity is based on design thinking, but as you saw earlier in the diagram, there's a part at the beginning, and that's the team alignment itself. And then we also add in strategic foresight and then the mindset component into what is required for a project. So deeper clarity method is about unlocking dynamic mindset to think differently. It's about team alignment of strategy, methods, tools, and mindset. And it allows for unbiased collaboration with customers from the initiative start to the delivery component of it. And it's progressive action based on new insights, empathy, and clarity. So as we find new information, we're able to switch course and bring in that new information to create a different future for it. And so deeper clarity is design thinking extended even further. And so we're going to talk a lot in the next year on deeper clarity method. And if you're interested in finding out more about deeper clarity, we also have a LinkedIn group called Deeper Clarity. And as part of that LinkedIn group, we are going to host monthly webinars, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that on different subject matters. And so today is about deeper clarity method. We'll spend time in the next year talking about dynamic mindset, collaboration, progressive action. So anything that you're hearing throughout this webinar, we want to enhance your knowledge and ability to ask questions through the LinkedIn group, as well as to reach out to us. So when I describe deeper clarity methods to other people, the way that I describe it is a lot of people in organizations are really good at their jobs. They love to create results. And so if we equate this to sports, I personally love downhill skiing. And so I love the downhill skiing component of it. And in order to start downhill skiing, I have to get up to the top of the mountain or the hill. And I prefer to do that in a chairlift or a gondola. And so we think of design and we think of deeper clarity as your gondola or your chairlift to get you to the right spot that you need to go so that you can carry on and do the project the way that you want to be doing. You can choose to climb up, and there's lots of people that do it, but it's a different sport. And so we want to make sure that we're getting you to the start in the most comfortable, fastest, easiest way so that you can do your projects in a much more comfortable way. So this is another question for you guys. How long does it take your team to clarify the project's goals and make sure everyone on the team understands it? Feel free to write in the chat. How long does your team take to clarify the project's goals and make sure everyone's on the team understanding it? just think about your last project and think what that might be. How long does your team take to clarify the project's goal and make sure everyone's on the team understands it? And as you guys are thinking of this and writing in the chat, the reason that I ask this question is oftentimes organizations don't think about how long it takes. And sometimes when we think that everyone's on the same page, they're able to recite what the project's goals are and what they are looking to do. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to do it. Sometimes people have memorized a sentence or two and they can tell you from that sentence or two, but it's that true understanding of what they actually need to do. So think about that as we're moving forward. With a deeper clarity method, we want to make sure that we're taking proactive steps to ensure the success of projects. And so that first upfront component of it, where we're getting everybody on the same page, is having the alignment within the team in terms of what is the goal, what is the measures of success, and how does it line up with the vision and the strategy of the organization, and have people on the team thinking and seeing the challenge from the same perspectives. Second part of deeper clarity is about understanding customers. And so making sure that we identify who the end users are, who are the people that we want to create impact for. And then through understanding those people better and understanding our alignment with the organization's strategy, taking a look at what the problem is that we really should be solving and that we want to be solving, and having a willingness to reframe the problem and experiment early on. The other aspects of it is about thinking about what the futures might be. There's a lot of indicators around us in terms of whether it's customer trends, people's behavior trends, socioeconomic trends, environmental, financial. So taking those things into account as we're working on our projects, especially in large organizations, in complex environments, projects take time. And so it's not like we're doing all of this research and we can deliver the next day. These things take a year, 2 years, sometimes even 3 years. And so what can we expect in terms of what the future holds? And then the final component of it is mindset for the team. What are the different mindsets that the team members need to have as they're going through each of the phases of the deeper clarity method and setting up for project success? So with the deeper clarity method, I chatted about how alignment is number one, understanding the shared goals and defining success. It's the preparation component of it. The second step is understanding customers better, connecting with those customers and discovering their needs. Third step is the reframing component of it. So identifying the core problems of customers before we define what the problem actually is. And then the final step is experimentation. So working with customers to solve their problems and do prototyping and testing so that we can bridge their gaps and actually get into the implementation phase. So what are the different types of initiatives deeper clarity can be applied to? Well, we talked about project success. So it can actually be applied to any type of a project. And there's actually 4 other areas that are really well suited for deeper clarity, because these are things that are super important to organizations. A lot of organizations talk about innovation, whether they're creating new products, services, processes, to do things differently, think outside of the box. Deeper clarity is really great for getting to the root of the problem so that they know where they might be able to innovate. For customer experience, it is phenomenal because it's about creating more stickiness with customers to increase loyalty, increasing the market share, increasing the number of customers, having customers buy in and buy additional services and products, and basically create better customer experiences so that we actually increase operational efficiency because we have fewer complaints and we make it easier for customers to do business with us. It's amazing also for employee experience because we want to make sure that we can attract and hire the best and brightest new employees and improve onboarding for new employees, as well as improve employee retention and engagement through the organization. And finally, for digital transformation, so introduction of or developing new technologies, whether it is technology or IT itself. At the end of the day, all digital transformation requires service design. And in order to have successful service design, you need to do the deeper clarity component of it, to understand your end users better, to be able to understand what they need and want to be done before you actually start your service design. We'll chat about some of these a little bit further. I want to talk a little bit more about digital transformation. Unfortunately, especially when you look around you, a lot of digital transformations do fail. And there's some really good stats in 2022 Forbes article that assessed that the risk of failure in digital transformations was 84%. That's pretty high. And a lot of it is from things like lack of alignment to business outcomes, the lack of awareness within the organization, micromanagement or mismanagement of agile teams, distraction by the minutia. So a lot of these things are actually impediments to project success. And when we take a look at deeper clarity, we can make sure that all of these things are addressed when we look at things like slow decision making, poor prioritization, resistance for fear of being replaced. All of these things can be prevented and actually turned into strength by using deeper clarity. And we'll chat about that in a second. Another stat that I want to bring your attention to, this one is actually from McKinsey. And it says that organizations with successful transformations deploy more technologies than others do. And the digital technologies, tools, and methods currently used by organizations is really fascinating. Those companies with successful transformations are in the dark blue. And when we look at the use of the design thinking methodology, which is part of deeper clarity, organizations that use design thinking had 44% more likelihood of success than 34% of companies that didn't use design thinking. And so as we're thinking about looking at things from an end user perspective, using design thinking, using deeper clarity for digital transformation, it increases your chance of success by at least 10%. And let's say you're not in digital transformation. This can be applied to anything. I love this stat from McKinsey again, is in terms of the state of organizations in 2023, they did a list of top 10 things that organizations are thinking about. And the three that are up at the top right now are ones that I want to bring your attention to: increasing speed, strengthening resilience. And so having organizations act a lot faster and give more power to their employees and develop that culture of continuous learning is really important for organizations. Being able to successfully do true hybrid, where there's a different and new balance of in-person and remote work, and closing the capacity chasm. So plugging in the gaps in the core activities, which are often a result of not enough people and inconsistent commitment. And so how do we do more with fewer people? There's all the other ones as well are a part of thinking about things from an end user perspective and making sure that initiatives are aligned with the organization's vision, strategy, and we're thinking about the people in the organization as well as the customers that we are serving. I want to pull back a little bit to the customer and employee experience component of it. I love the stat. It says that, and these are from Forbes, is that companies with higher engaged employees outperform their competitors by 147%. Companies that invest in employee experience are 4 times more profitable than those that don't. Those are really alarming stats. And what I mean by alarming is that we want to make sure, and these stats highlighted even more, that we have better employee experiences so that the customer experiences are actually a lot better as well too. And then the final one that I want to draw your attention to is companies that excel at customer experience have 1.5 times more engaged employees than companies with poor customer experience. So they kind of go hand in hand. And so if you're investing in employee experience, it actually impacts customer experience. And if you're investing in customer experience, it actually impacts employee experience. I love this quote in here. Every interaction with a customer-facing employee can impact customer satisfaction, either making or breaking it. And I think we can all think of experiences that we might have had in the past with poor service or super great service that if it's great service, we've pledged loyalty. And if hasn't been the best experience and we haven't had great experiences, have sworn never to go and use that organization's services. Sometimes we don't have a choice, but when we do, then we try to look for opportunities to use other types of organizations. So I'm talking a lot about the deeper clarity method, and you can use aspects of it, or you can use it end to end. When you use it end to end, it brings in big changes. But even if you're putting in some small changes into the organization, depending on what your needs are, they can actually make a big impact. I like the analogy of sports because if you're playing a sport or if you're working out incorrectly, even if it's a stance that's slightly wrong, you actually increase the chance of injuring yourself. And even if you were doing the activities properly, but you don't have the right muscles built up, it's also easier to injure yourself. In organizations, we don't necessarily have physical injuries, but there are actually a lot of signs that organizations are injuring their teams, the people in their organizations, and their business. Things like teams are taking longer to start up. There's actually language and terminology differences amongst how people describe the project and some of the challenges in there. They're delivering without the intended impact that they wanted to have. Projects take longer. There's a lot of inefficiencies. I'm sure you guys can think of even more. Feel free to write in the chat in terms of what are some injuries that happen in teams and in businesses that are a result of probably very small things, but that take a big impact on the organization. I'll just keep going. So I chatted about how deeper clarity is based on design thinking. So both deeper clarity and design thinking are about putting people first. Design thinking and deeper clarity prioritize the needs of their end users. Deeper clarity goes a little bit further by considering the project team and establishing a baseline for the team to collaborate as well too. So deeper clarity is a part of, design thinking is part of deeper clarity. And so we're still encompassing a lot of the strengths of design thinking, but putting things around it to make it even stronger for project success. So what are the differences between deeper clarity and design thinking? Deeper clarity is based on years of experience in working in organizations, small, medium, large types of organizations, and bringing in more of a human-centric approach. As we've applied design thinking, we've realized that that's not quite enough, and we've added in different things in there like alignment, like strategic foresight and mindset to make sure that end to end it's working even better in organizations. Design thinking is part of deeper clarity, and deeper clarity has the tools to use a human-centric approach in organizations to create the outcomes. Oftentimes, when I talk to people about design thinking, they're really hesitant to use it because they're not sure how they can apply it in their current environment. And deeper clarity pulls that uncertainty out and showcases how you can use it within a project to make sure that you're getting to project success. Deeper clarity takes the future potentials into consideration, and I'll chat about that in a little bit. And deeper clarity considers end users as well as the team looking to create the impact, as well as exploring the different mindsets required at different phases of the project. At the end of the day, we're all people working on projects and initiatives. We all want to make a big impact, and we're in different mindsets. And so what are the different types of mindsets that we need to have in order to be able to create project success? So deeper clarity is about the alignment, incorporating design thinking, strategic foresight, and mindset. Alignment is, we chatted a little bit about it, but I think about the types of teams that we've helped in the past. And there's been instances where we've started working with a team And sometimes there's 3 people, sometimes there's 12 people, sometimes there's 25 people on a team. And I remember a project we did a long time ago where we had 12 people at the start of our training. And at the midpoint for the day when we went for lunch, I honestly thought that they were working on 12 different projects. It actually took a few days of working together for people to start describing the problem in similar types of ways. And then probably took until the 5th day till we could realize who was working on what team on that same project. And so deeper clarity and the alignment component is really important when we're working in complex environments or on complex projects. But even if we're not, sometimes we've worked with groups of people with a team of 3. And at the start of the project, we've asked them what they feel their measures of success are. And when we asked the team of 3 what their top 3 measures of success are, they came up with 8 different measures of success. So there was only 2 people that aligned on a measure of success for the project. And this is really important because if you guys have different ideas of what project success looks like, even though it might seem successful to one, it's not going to feel successful to others. And the other component of it is if you have a different idea of what project success looks like, you're going to be making different decisions than if you had the same idea of what project success looks like. And design thinking, it's phenomenal to understand what the users currently want, what some of their challenges are, and it provides that opportunity to reframe, prototype, and test, which I really love. The strategic foresight component of it is taking a look at future potentials and future customers. And so I talk about customers in terms of both private and public sector. I think public sector is starting to think more and more about citizens or other organizations or partners as customers. And so as we think about what the future could look like, planning that into our projects so that we can make sure that we are having a lot more success in the future. And that future could be a year out, 6 months out, it could be 10, 20 years out, depending on how you need to plan for organizations. A really great example of this in the private sector is I was chatting last year, actually last March, with a business in Quebec City, and they manufacture beds for hospitals and for senior citizen homes. And they had read a lot of studies that if people are in environments that are similar to the environments that they were in when they were in the prime of their life, they actually end up having better health, feeling better, and looking better. And when they took a look at the statistics for healthcare and the types of challenges that people were having as they got older, they found that there was more and more cognitive challenges and issues that people were coming into care for. And so based on some of the insights that they had in terms of what was going to be happening in terms of the increased cognitive challenges for family members and for the elderly, and based on their understanding of some of the research for the beds that they were making, they actually decided to change up what the beds look like. And so they made minor modifications so that it didn't look like it was in a hospital type of an environment. And then they actually also changed the colors of their beds to, especially right now, if you think of people that are in elderly homes, they were probably in their prime in the 70s and 80s. And so they have changed the color of the beds to avocado green and that mustard yellow so that people feel like they would when they were in the prime of earlier in their life. And so there's a lot of things that are happening in both private and public sectors to bring in strategic foresight. And so with Deeper Clarity Method, we've combined that into the methodology so that your team is aware of and actually creating space for what might be important going forward in the future. The other component of it is mindset, and I'm not going to say too much about it today because we're going to have another webinar coming up in another month, and one of the topics that we're going to cover is mindset. I think mindset is super important because at the end of the day, we are people working with other people, looking to have impact on people. And as we go through projects, we need to have different types of mindsets, and we have to be cognizant of the mindsets of the people that we're working with. And especially as we go to talk to our end customers, to creating safe spaces where they feel free to be able to share what's on their mind. And so I know for me on my personal life, I talk a lot about my mindset as I've shifted careers and I've shifted lifestyles as well too. Mindset is a huge component of success for me and for people and organizations. And so we'll chat a lot more about mindset in other seminars as we move forward. Oftentimes, we don't take the time to question our assumptions. And this is part of the reason that I love Deeper Clarity so much, is because it forces teams to question assumptions. Oftentimes, we can be blind to the obvious, and we can also be blind to our blindness. There's a lot of studies that have been done. One in particular around risk that I love is when an earthquake happens in a region and it hasn't happened in a while, then the likelihood of people looking to get earthquake insurance increases quite significantly. But if you actually look at the statistics, the likelihood of having an earthquake after one that's already a major earthquake that's happened is a lot lower. And so it's taking into account what are some of the assumptions that we're making and pulling it apart and making sure that we're testing them out, or making sure that we're not missing any assumptions that we are making along the way, so that we can make sure that we're able to see everything 360 degrees and hopefully a little bit into the future as well too. Now, we chatted earlier about starting projects. And when I talk to folks about starting projects, I've been asking teams how much time is spent at the start of a project to make sure that things are getting aligned and that there's that connection with the mission, vision, strategy of the organization. And I'm getting different types of answers. And one of the things is people talk about the complexity of a project. I think more and more we're going to get into more complex environments. And so when we think about the environments that we're working in, especially in large organizations, we're probably spending a month or two getting started up on projects. Now, if you think about a month or two of people's time, that's a lot of time. So how much is it worth to get going on collaboration and projects a lot earlier? Probably quite a bit. If we take a look at an average employee, let's say they're making $80,000 a year or $100,000 annually with benefits, for 1 week's salary, that's almost $2,000. And if you have 5 employees that are having a little bit of conflict or ambiguity at the start of a project, that's around $10,000. Oftentimes, it's not just 1 week of conflict and ambiguity. Sometimes it's months and months. I know we've worked with teams that have been sitting in ambiguity for 6 months. And so as we work with them, it only took a week or two to get them online, a lot clearer in terms of what they need to do, what's in scope, and get started on the work. And it's not just 1 week, because there's conflict that happens throughout the project, whether it's disagreement, disengagement, sick days, frustration. I know I've been part of projects, especially earlier on in my career, where we just weren't sure what we needed to do. And so we kept working on the things that we knew how to do. And after a while, you run out of things to do. And the next thing is trying to figure out what to do. And it's a lot easier if people are much clearer up front in terms of what needs to be done, so that they can work on all of it. The other benefit of deeper clarity is it helps make sure that everyone understands what they need to do from their perspective, so that everyone in the project can contribute fully. And it's even further cost savings when we think about working with other partners as well. Because sometimes it's not just our department, just our team. We're partnering with other organizations, other companies. And so how can we increase that collaboration a lot faster so that we can get to the results? Now, if you guys feel free and comfortable, think about what is your organization's top challenge? What is it around customers? What is it around employees? What is it around digital transformation? Are there some challenges around innovation? Feel free to write in the chat and I'll make sure that I'm checking out the chat and I'm reading out results. When you think about the biggest challenge that you have within your team or within your organization, which areas do they play in? Is it a people challenge? Is it a process challenge? Or is it a technology challenge? Oftentimes in organizations, it's categorized into one of these three areas. And as you notice, this is a beautiful Venn diagram where everything is even. But the reality of it is, in organizations, it's more people challenges than anything else. Sometimes we think they might be process or technology, but the more we delve into it, it's actually usually people challenges. And so deeper clarity is about helping you make sure that we understand the people in our organization and outside of the organization that we're trying to create impact for. Now, I'm going to go through this last little part a little bit faster. We do have self-assessments that we do with teams or with leaders if you're interested in it. But what we try to get people to do is think of a project or an initiative that they've completed or one that they're currently working on. And so think in your head, what is a project or an initiative that you recently completed or are working on? Was it successful? If you want to chat, write in the chat, feel free to write in the chat. Was the project that you were working on or are currently working on successful? And then the third question is, what made it successful or what made it unsuccessful? Chances are it was about the people that you were working with and the people that you were creating value for. In our time, we are going through so much change, whether it's digital adoption, AI is really big right now, or environmental changes. I live in Ottawa and this winter has been way different than other winters. Financially, the world is in a different state than it was 5 years ago. There's so many changes happening all at the same time, not to even mention the political component of it. And so we're living in quite a different world and it keeps changing very rapidly. And a lot of us tend to rely on our gut. And the problem is because there's so many changes that have been happening, we can't rely on our guts anymore. And we know that we might be falling into gut assumption trap when there's not enough clarity or alignment. We're overwhelmed with information and we're not taking the time to understand customers. And we're only using past experiences and gut feelings to design new products, services, and processes. And so how can we get out of that gut assumption trap? And that's by making sure that we're using the deeper clarity, making sure that we're understanding the team, the people that we're serving, willing to reframe, and then also do some experimentation. So we've come up actually with 10 ways to build better products, processes, policies, and services using the deeper clarity method. And I think I'll go through these, but if you want to know more about it, feel free to reach out. Super happy to do an assessment with you guys or to get deeper into it. But the number one thing is alignment on common understanding, making sure that all the team members start out with that shared definition and understanding the project goals and objectives. Identifying what the challenges are that you're looking to solve, setting clear success metrics, using a customer-centric approach, and then validating assumptions to escape that gut assumption trap, being open to reframing the problem, and fostering a dynamic mindset, including creating psychologically safety zones and environments for diverse team members to openly share ideas and perspectives without biases. before I get into the last three too, you'll notice that there's different mindsets that are listed beside each of these top 10 ways. There's more than one in each of these, but I selected one to highlight how we add in the mindset component of it as well. And then finally, there's 8 is ideation and evaluation of problems, creating environments to prototype and test, and then ensuring that continuous alignment as well. And again, the continuous alignment is really important, and it's not something that has been considered when we just use design thinking on its own. Is how do we make sure that we're bringing in that information as new information is being collected, and how do we make sure that the team stays on track and is not tending back to that gut assumption trap. And there's a huge component of knowing about deeper clarity, understanding it, and then using it to actually really get that literacy in there. And deeper clarity provides that the innovation literacy skills around alignment, connection, reframing, experimentation. And so what we do with deeper clarity is we have 3 different programs. And so level 1 is our design thinking training, and we've already incorporated aspects of deeper clarity into the training, whether it's our 1-day or our advanced certification or our design thinking for leaders. Level 2 is deeper clarity solutions, where we're in there with you to help you talk to your end customers, to get your team aligned, and making sure that we're helping you out in the areas that you need help with. And so we would do an assessment with the leader and with the team and determine the type of training that you need and develop a roadmap, and then making sure that we are able to help you do the implementation and then do regular deeper clarity audits with you. And then our enterprise-wide solution with deeper clarity is about licensing it out to organizations that want to use it throughout the organization. And we have tools like Train the Trainer, the documentation, in order to be able to help your organization add this to your repertoire and continue to use it. Now, how do you guys get involved in the deeper clarity process? Some of you guys are already in the Deeper Clarity Network, and so that's free to subscribe. It's on LinkedIn. Check us out through Spring 2 Innovation or through me. Send us an email, and super happy to get you more information. And I think Fernanda and Osa are going to write in the chat about that too. And what we can do is, if you want to know even more, we can do a meeting and I can do a deeper clarity assessment with you. If you like what you see and you can see the areas that you might want some help in, then we would start working together and you would join the Deeper Clarity program and you become a member of the Deeper Clarity program. And we create a customized Deeper Clarity plan and select the resources for you, and then start implementing your Deeper Clarity plan, and then review progress regularly. And in terms of milestones with organizations, it's that initial upfront to make sure that once you've become a member, we identify the challenges, measures of success, do a team audit just to make sure that we understand where everyone is coming from and where their understanding is. And then we develop an alignment workshop. From there, select resources, do a discovery empathy workshop, as well as a defining and reframing the problem workshop, and then provide dynamic support, including ongoing feedback, ideation support, prototyping, and testing as we go through. So that's a lot of information. So as we're thinking about the Deeper Clarity method, feel free to write any questions that you might have in the Q&A or in the chat. As we finish off, I want to make sure that you guys understand what Deeper Clarity is and the Deeper Clarity method. And if you do want a Deeper Clarity assessment of your project, reach out to us, write us in the chat, or feel free to check out the website as well too. The contact information for Spring 2 Innovation is on here, and my email as well if you guys want to get in touch. And we also have a book for public sector, but a lot of it applies to the private sector as well, as Future Proofing by Design. And we've incorporated aspects of Deeper Clarity in here, but there's a lot more, especially around strategic foresight and mindset, that we don't have in the book. There's a second book being worked on, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you want to learn more about design thinking or deeper clarity, I have a TED Talk, as well as we have lots of training, consulting opportunities, coaching opportunities in design thinking and deeper clarity. Or if you want to know more about design thinking, we have a self-led course as well. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. Maybe, Fernanda, I can pass it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Neil, so much. I have a question for you, actually. I think one of the biggest challenges is how to get leaders to better understand the importance of human-centered design and, actually implement that.
Yeah. So that's a really great question. I find with the leaders that we have worked with, as they've seen an implementation of user-centered design, there's almost an instant flip, like they see the impact of it. I'll give you an example. We did many years ago with a team where we brought in the end users, and we had some fairly high senior executives in there that were part of the group that was doing the research with the customers. And so they sat in on some of the sessions where the empathy sessions where we were doing some personas, empathy mapping, and journey mapping. And they were fascinated by the types of comments that they were getting from the end users. And it was a lot different than what they thought it was going to be. And so for those that are looking to get more human-centered design into their organizations, if they're able to start small with smaller projects using user-centered design, and then showcase the benefits and showcase their learnings, then move on to bigger projects, I think it's going to be easier as senior leaders can see the impact of it. And it's funny, I actually chat with a lot of design thinkers around the world as well too. And the biggest challenge that they find too is once people have seen the human-centered, user-centered design in action, they love it and they're on board, but it's really hard to bring in folks that might not have seen it. And so we try to help out through YouTube videos and customers that they can talk to. And I think that's part of the Deeper Clarity Network as well, is opportunities for you to ask questions to other folks that are thinking about it or that have implemented it properly, or that have implemented it in general, just to understand some of their challenges and some of the things that have worked and things that they might want to try.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you would say that would be like a first step to start into the deeper clarity. What would be the first step if you want to do it?
I think, yeah, if you want to join, if you want to get into deeper clarity, I think the first step might be to join in to that LinkedIn group, to see what's being posted, to be able to post your own questions. Also, definitely check out our website. We do have a section on deeper clarity method. And third thing you can do is contact me and we can do a deeper clarity assessment to see the areas that you might want to have some additional assistance in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Neil, for that great content. And thank you, everyone that joined us. Oh, we have one person here that just joined the link. We would love to see you all in the LinkedIn group to chat and interact with us over there. We really hope you found this discussion insightful. And for those of you that may have joined later, we will be sending out a recording soon by email, so keep an eye for that. And we would love to hear your feedback, please. As you log off, you will get a survey, and we are really grateful to hear about you, and we can't wait to see you in our next sessions. We'll probably have one. We'll announce it soon in a month, and lots of interesting things to discuss. Thank you all for your participation and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.